Hi, my name's Ben Cooper. I'm currently here in Oxford on Linear Fisheries, Manor Lake. My session so far, I got here Tuesday night, planning on doing 48-hour session. I don't know nothing about the place, so I just sort of like went on, you know, just watercraft. Ended up setting up in one of the, I think they call the car park swims. Wind was trickling in nice. A nice bit of water to myself, and found a few clear spots in and amongst the weed, and went all 3 rods, sort of fishing how I'd normally fish confidently. I'm bleeding. Hold on. How about that? Basically, I found 3 clear spots in and amongst the weed. I didn't go all my eggs in one basket. Presented some rigs in there for the first night, had a couple of tench over the bait, and then following morning, didn't really see a great deal. See a few anglers on the opposite side catching, fishing long into like the central sort of zone. So, had a few words with the locals, the bailiffs, you know, you can't ignore that sort of information, and ended up switching to zigs, put the marker float out there, found the depths, you know, and fished a couple of foot under the surface, and blank saver.
Roundabout, as we've been calling it.
The roundabout, yeah, well, was having a little bit of a laugh last night about the roundabout. I come on here, I've never, like I said, I've never fished it before, so everyone's seen Kempies, and yeah, everyone you speak to, it doesn't come out on zigs, it comes out on the bottom and all that, so I've had to keep one rod on the deck. But this roundabout, everyone who's caught this session seems to be fishing long into this circle of the lake, so it couldn't be avoided any longer. Yeah, we've had to get them out there, fishing the zigs, and it's paid off, but I still don't think Kempies is on that roundabout, he's on the back roads. One of my most favourite captures has got to be Eric's Common. At the time it was, I think, like 2 ounces off the world record at 88 pounds, 40 kilograms. But the whole session was just, it was just like one of them red letter sessions. Arrived, fished peg 2 on obviously Rainbow Lake, and took a couple of days to get the first bite. Eric's was, as funnily enough, the first bite of the trip, but that trip I went on to go and have, I think I had 4 other 60s that trip, a couple of 50s, so just the whole trip in general. I was with a good friend, an old mate, Pete Ollie. He's been fishing for 40 plus years, so it was nice to be fishing with him. And yeah, Eric's, I mean, what a fish. Like, if you've ever seen an 80-pound carp, they're incredible, like, you know. So yeah, I was really pleased with that one.
What's the funniest thing you've ever had happen on the bank or seen?
Well, you dropping your phone in was a quality one just a minute ago. Yeah. No. Funniest thing. Funniest thing. I'll tell you what was quite funny. Back to Rainbow, funnily enough, there was one time I had borrowed a friend's, I had a 45 thrust Minn Kota and I wanted something faster, so I borrowed a friend's 55 thrust, and at the time I was like 11 stone, like I was a little whippersnapper, and I remember fishing peg 6, had a screaming take, but I had to get to it quick because I was fishing down the channel, sort of loads of stumps and all sorts down there, and I remember coming flying out in my boat, hit a stump, and as I've hit the stump, the props come up. I've gone over the edge of the boat with the rod, and at this point I'm just like stuck, stranded with a rod in my hand trying to hook onto the boat. But yeah, that was pretty funny, and my mate on the bank, he weren't much help. He just stood there and laughed at me, do you know what I mean? My personal fishing in the UK has been mainly in the Lee Valley. I live in the Lee Valley, Ware, Hertfordshire. So I've done a lot of my time fishing in the valley. I've fished, and in the valleys, anyone that knows it's quite tricky fishing, big lakes. One of my most memorable captures was on a lake called Glenfaber, 70 odd acres. At the time, had never been stocked. 10 original known carp in there. Little benthead was the biggest in the lake, and I went on to catch that in my first season, along with second biggest fish in the lake also. So little benthead for me is UK PB, and it's quite a memorable fish. I fished Abbott's Lake, it's gold card on the old CMEX ticket. It's pucker fishing there, tricky, big chucking water really. Like, they've got their safe zone and they know it. So that's been a good time of my fishing career. I've had some lovely fish out of there, including the chub common, although slightly down in weight and not the magical 50-pound mark. But yeah, that's been sort of my fishing in the UK. I've started moving out of the Lee Valley a bit more now. I've got a Frimley Pit 4 ticket, which I fished it for 2.5 months in my first season, and with work commitments I couldn't keep getting down there, and ventured off to Cassian and stuff. But I had 16 fish in my first spring, so I was really chuffed with that, including Martin's Common, 42.5. So yeah, my baiting approach and with big fishing, big like carp fishing, is I'm still quite old school. But I've grown up been lucky enough in that era to emerge a bit of old school into a bit of new school. So I do still like fishing over boilie. If I can get away with it, I love fishing with the stick. But a lot of my fishing nowadays, and the lakes that I fish, seem to be a lot more fishing at range. So just trying to be accurate with the baiting. When I'm fishing boilies though, I do still like to dot a few about, seem to rear away from like the spods. And I'll go, like the spoms, and go back to a spod, because I just find you can get a nicer spread with eight or 9 boilies at a time. But my go-to bait has got to be, since the release of the Complex T, it's caught me loads of fish now, like full of confidence in it. Well, saying that, it's an hard one for me because I love the sauce, I love the crave, but most of my fishing's definitely the sauce. I can't go anywhere without that, and the Complex T. I like fishing 50-50. I always have done. I always mix my baits slightly. I never just have one specific bait.
Why is that?
I just like the variety. I like the colour when you're chopping them up. You know, there's all different smells and tastes, and you know, if you was fed the same meal every day, and you'd get sick of it. So I like to try and mix it up. Earlier in the year, I tend to use a lot smaller particles, chopped boilie, things like that. You know, because they're not really at their best. If I'm fishing boilies in the spring, I generally like to use like little 3-4 bait stringers. Like yourself, you like little bags and stuff like that. Just a bite, fishing for a bite. This feature is out of my ordinary style of fishing. Day ticket, busy, not my cup of tea generally, but I'll be totally honest with you, I've thoroughly enjoyed it, and I've learnt a thing or two, you know. So, and one thing you can't be is, like you noticed yesterday, like I kind of wanted to stick to what I was doing because I was here to try and catch one of them better ones, but you know, when you've done a night already and you've seen a couple of other lads catching and the bailiff tells you they're taking zigs, you can't be stubborn. You have to change your approach and adapt, and that's the word, isn't it, is adapting to, you know, to this style of fishing. And take my hat off to people that do it. Like it can be tough going, you know. You've got to be constantly active, you know. And I'll definitely start. I think it do me good as in my own fishing as well, even on the big pits where I'm fishing long range. It sharpens you up. It sharpens you up for sure, and it's them finer little details. And fishing like this is definitely, I think you'd notice them fine details.